Hello to everyone and welcome. This is Terry Roberts with DMAI, and we are so excited to have everyone here as we have our second joint webinar with our very most appreciated partner, CVent. And DMAI is the Trade Association for Convention and Visitors Bureau, and empowerMINT is our tool to connect you with our valued members. So we're really excited today about the opportunity to talk to you about Plan B or contingency planning in any destination that you're visiting. Just a couple of housekeeping notes. If you've dialed in, if you enter your PIN number on your phone, we'll be able to unmute you should you have a question or want to ask a question. That we will take questions at the end of the webinar. But also you can type your questions as they come to you during the webinar into your GoToMeeting dashboard panel, and we'll be polling and taking some of those questions at the end. If your question doesn't get answered, we are planning to reach out to you directly after the webinar to make sure that everyone's questions get answered. And many of you will be anxious to receive your CMP certificate at the end of the webinar, and we will be sending that to you within 5 business days. And so if you'll just look for notification in your inbox, and along with that we'll also be sending you a recording of today's webinar. So with that said, I'd really like to welcome our panelists. We really have, I think, assembled a great group of experts from destinations as well as CVent to talk to you today about this whole idea of Plan B. So first I'd like to introduce Mike Carrier. Mike is the president and CEO of the Oklahoma City CVB. And Mike joined Oklahoma in July of 2007 as its president, and he has been active in the travel and tourism industry for almost 30 years, although you wouldn't know it from looking at that picture. So working in meeting planning and hotel sales, and he has also served as the president of the Convention and Visitors Bureau in Greenville and Columbia, South Carolina, and Knoxville, Tennessee. And prior to Oklahoma City, he was the general manager of the Shreveport Convention Center. So, Mike, I know that you're also actively involved in numerous industry associations, including president of the Carolinas chapter of MPI and 3 years on the board of IACVB, which is now Destination Marketing Association. And we just really appreciate you representing our industry today as well as your fine city. So welcome, Mike.
Thank you, Terry. Glad to be with you.
Great. And then we also have with us Beth Staley. Beth is the VP of Convention Sales and Services in the Greater Boston CVB. And she's been there since 1999, and she's currently the Vice President of Sales and Convention Services. And she directs the day-to-day sales and convention service efforts of her 12 members there in Boston, and the team is responsible for reaching out to planners and booking conventions and meetings and events and working with meeting professionals to ensure successful events for the organization as well as for the Boston Convention and Hospitality community. So good morning, Beth, and welcome. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. It's nice to be here.
And also representing CVent, our friend Carolyn Gordon, who's the marketing manager at CVent. She joined the hospitality industry in 2005, and she said she actually fell in love with all aspects of meetings and events while working for the Alexandria VA-based precision meetings and events as an independent third-party planner. So Carolyn joined CVent in 2006 and has played such a large role in the development, marketing, and sales of CVent's supplier network. And it's nice to have you today, Carolyn. It is also Carolyn's birthday, so we're working her hard on her birthday. So welcome and happy birthday to you, Carolyn.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So we'd like to get started and talk with you today about the one thing that is constant everywhere, and that's change. So from traffic jams to power outages to natural disasters and even political disagreements, you know, life just continually has this way of throwing us all curveballs. And I don't think anyone on this call would disagree that we live in an unpredictable world. and that meeting planners must be prepared in order to execute a successful event with a plan B. So I don't think any of us are naive enough to believe that our meetings or our events would ever come off without a hitch, no matter how perfectly they planned or documented they may be. And I know that best planners and those of you on the line who are highly organized and meticulous and flexible and creative still know that you will be faced with either foreseeable or completely unexpected problems, whether it's something as common as a last-minute overflow hotel room or as dire as a natural disaster. So we hope today to give you some information about how CVBs are a great place to turn for contingency planning as you're planning your meeting. And because I think that really pending all of these challenges requires a proactive partner in your destination. And we also think that it's essential that you have the right technology partner as well, and technology plays such a large role in how we do business today. Caroline and I were laughing earlier in the day about the antiquated ways we used to help meeting registrants, and Caroline was talking about pulling business cards from people, and I was talking about how when I went to work for Marriott in the early 80s, we ran a 1,000-room convention hotel with a wooden board behind that we moved dials from, occupied to ready rooms. So we've come a long way, so the role of technology and risk management is certainly important. And we hope to share with you some tips for creating and applying the best Plan B for your next event. So I'd like to turn now to Beth and to Mike to really talk about kind of the part A of our discussion today, which is how do you avoid what is avoidable? How do you put together the best Plan B to help you kind of foresee what may be out in front of you and what is perhaps likely to happen? So Beth, I'd like to tee that up and have you begin to talk about creating contingency plans.
Thanks a lot, Terry. I appreciate it. I think the most important thing is that both sides have to maintain a very open communication between each other, and it really starts at the time you start planning the meeting. The destination really, and I'm talking from Boston's perspective, and so it may change from destination to destination, but as much as we can know about your program, tell us, because then we can help you move through the city with a lot more ease if we know what your expectations are. And everything that's happened in the past few years in so many destinations, if a contingency plan is important to you for at a hotel or at a convention center, we have the ability to get that for you. Most of our hotels do have them in the event that something tragic happens, so that we can get that over to the planner so that they can communicate that out to their members if that's important. It's also very important that we go through the program in advance. Let us become that person in Boston or wherever that we can help you. Let us find out where there are challenges that may lay ahead, and let us understand that flow of the event, and let us help you because we know our destination is better than anybody else, and we can foresee some obstacles that you may not know. And if you think something may happen, raise that red flag because, as they say in so many different situations, go with your gut. It seldom lies to you. So if you think something may go wrong, let us know, whether it's a speaker at the last minute that you think isn't going to show up, do you see a snowstorm coming and that speaker is not going to be able to get in. Let us know those things because we like to say we're 2 phone calls away from making it happen, and we can certainly make your jobs a lot easier. We like to say we know our destination better than anyone else and that we're the specialists, and I think that Mike would agree with me. Don't you think so, Mike?
I certainly do, Beth. The thing that I would, to our meeting planner friends that are listening to us today, that I would stress is don't forget that the services of the majority of our CVBs, DMOs around the country are free of charge. We're funded primarily by hotel bed tax or assessments, and so it is our goal to book as many pieces of business and help you get into our cities because that's how we're funded, and it allows us to provide a tremendous amount of help and support to you free of charge. as Beth said, we know our destination better than anyone else does. We know the changes that have happened yesterday. We know what's coming in tomorrow, and so we can always, and I hesitate to use that word, but I will. We can always help you find the best option that is available for you in a crisis situation or in your planning situation. Beth and I have both had situations recently with championship sports events. Beth having the World Series and us having the NBA playoffs the last couple of years. Those things happen, and all of a sudden you get thrown a little bit out of kilter from what has been planned. So we all have to struggle a little bit and hustle a little bit to help planners find alternative resources during those times, maybe last-minute moves, things of that nature. If we know up front what your plans are and what you would like to be doing, we can help you identify secondary resources. We can help you identify alternative locations that might or might not fit your needs. And I've seen planners numerous times go into situations that just didn't fit because they were led that way without the full knowledge of people that were specialists in the city. We also know what other programs are coming in. We want you, when you come to Oklahoma City or in Boston or in any of our other cities, we want you to have the most successful meeting possible and your delegates to have the best time that they can have. And so if we know what else is happening in the city, we may be able to assist you with special offers to participate in those, or we may help you be able to avoid them so that your folks don't get trapped in long lines at restaurants or in attractions or other things that they might like to do while they're visiting our cities that would leave them with less than a fun time while they're here, and also take them away from the important things that they're doing in your meetings to achieve what their goals ultimately are. So, Beth, I think it's safe to say that we can indeed provide great opportunities for all of our planner friends.
I agree. If you look good, if the destination looks good, we're going to make sure that meeting looks good, and that's really our overall goal, I think.
Hey, Mike, can I ask you a question? So I know that we get asked this a lot in our DMAI planner sessions. Would CVB share historical occupancies, times that are more busy, less busy in a destination that might help a planner take advantage of better rates over certain times, or avoid an arrival departure pattern that would make their rates much higher, or even be in the destination over a time period when there was a large citywide? Would those be things that CVBs would routinely share with planners who wanted to really understand the picture of the destination over the time of their meeting?
Terry, I think that we definitely would. And one of the things that we encourage our sales team to do is when they're talking with a planner is to, in the very first conversation, ask them what their date preferences are and do they have alternative dates. Obviously, we would love to be able to give you the dates you would really like to have, but like most cities, there are limitations as to what we can do, and so we want to go into it looking at all available opportunities. We also need to know, and we dealt with a group this past summer, the National Square Dance Convention, in their bylaws. Their meeting is held the 4th week of June, period. If you can't do it then, you can't do the meeting. And so we need to know if there are any specific time constraints and whatever options there are. So, we focus that with our salespeople to try to ask that question up front so that we can look at all the available options and opportunities.
Great. So, Beth, I know you want to speak a little bit to how CVBs can help you manage your attrition and rooms around the block, which is such a hot topic these days.
Well, if someone could figure that out, I think we would all be golden, wouldn't we? Mm-hmm. I think the most important thing to do is to make sure that a group and the destination itself knows what the history is and make sure it's up to date. There's no sense in not telling the truth about what your history is, whether it's going up or going down. both organizations, meaning the destination and the organization, should be tracking that. That's, I think, the biggest asset that we can all help each other with so that we know what we're dealing with. So many times the larger associations, as you all know, are booked several years in advance, and many things change by the time you actually get to the city. So if you need more rooms, let us know. We know what else we've booked. We know where those hotel rooms are available. Help us help you be able to manage that. And the same thing if by some reason you need, you're into a nutrition problem, as soon as you realize that, let your housing company, if you have a housing company, call us. There may be another group that may need those rooms, or today there are so many different channels that we can go through to try to communicate that we have rooms and that they're available. Let us get them back into the inventory so that you don't have to pay for them. And the other thing is that, when you negotiate your contract, make sure that how you negotiate it is the same at every hotel. We don't, fortunately right now at this point in time, we don't get into this situation a lot because we don't have enough supply in Boston, but we are facing a nutrition problem right now. And in one hotel, instead of doing it on a cumulative basis, they did the attrition on a per night basis, and the group didn't catch it. And so we really couldn't help them because it was per night instead of overall. So I guess I would just ask that you know what you're negotiating, stay on top of it, know your history, and the same thing, the destination should know your history, because if you're not picking up, we can place that call very easily and help you either get more rooms or release the rooms.
Perfect. Well, Mike, it's not all negative. There are also ways in which CVBs can connect you with opportunities in the destination as well.
Yeah, and when you look at opportunities, and some of the things that, again, our services department tries to do with planners, the more we know about the group, and it goes back to what Beth has talked about extensively, and that is communications. If we know what a group is looking for, perhaps we can help tie you in with the group that was before you or after you, looking at decorators, looking at AV suppliers, looking at how your exhibit hall is set up, helping to find ways to expedite the load in or load out for each group that would tie you together in a way that is acceptable to both groups. The farther out we know things like that, obviously the easier it is to deal. We understand that there are national contracts that many meetings have with decorators, with AV companies, with other service providers, but anytime that we can help tie people together, particularly when there are tight turnarounds in our center. The other thing is that, as Beth was talking about with hotel rooms, if we know of a group that is here that has heavy room usage and not as significant meeting space usage, or vice versa, we can often help find really good deals for folks to fill out the inventory that is available at particular times of the year, or some of those times that we know are going to be a little more slack, and that people are looking for good business to put in our hotels and in our meeting facilities. So it's all about communication. It's all about helping our planner friends find the opportunities that best suit their need and cause them to look at our respective cities and say, we want to be there.
So now let's kind of move forward from avoiding the avoidable, the commonplace sort of things that happen with meetings and events, and think about what, in fact, planners are faced with when there is a real crisis in a destination. And I know Beth and I were just speaking before the call started about, watching the Red Sox win the World Series and thinking that the bombings in the marathon were only in April, and Mike saying that, believe it or not, the Oklahoma City bombing anniversary, the 19-year anniversary, is in the spring of next year. So these are horrible things that we hate to see happen in any of our cities, but whether it's a tornado, moving through Chicago in November unexpectedly, or something very tragic. Beth and Mike, talk from your experience and how destination support CVB professionals can really help connect planners when there is real crisis to deal with.
I guess one of the situations that we dealt with most recently was the week of the marathon bombings on the Friday afterwards, when the tragic killings were taking place. Again, was that the governor and the mayor decided to close our city, to shut it down. And you wake up and thinking you're going to go to work like everybody else, and you turn on the news, and it's 5:30 a.m. and you see what's going on, and it's like, oh my, this you don't even know how to start, in thinking what the plans and actions that have to go into effect immediately. So you just immediately have to start calling your staff who's dealing with the groups that are in the hotels. You have to make sure you have a plan to, the convention center staff, the city staff is happening. And since none of us could get into work, the conference calls that were set up between our president, our senior vice president, and other key people in the city to make sure that all the information is communicated back and forth. So it's having those relationships and then knowing how to execute that information immediately out into our hotels and into our convention centers, and most importantly to the attendees that are visiting our destinations. Mike?
It's ironic, and I made this comment before the webinar started, that today is 6 months and 1 day since the May 20th tornado hit Oklahoma City and the city of Moore, which is one of our southern suburbs, and killed 24 people, including 7 students in one of our elementary schools. We live with that on a daily basis and live with the vagaries of the weather. And so we're always cognizant of what can happen in both natural and man-made disasters. I think for the CVB and from our standpoint, the thing we want to do there most in all of those situations is we want to be the calm voice of reason that really separates fact from fiction. The news media usually does a great job, but occasionally they'll get something that they put out on the air that is just blatantly wrong. And how can we make sure that the right information is getting out? I don't think we're needed on the scene. I think what we need to be is certainly in touch, as Beth just indicated, with the officials who are on the scene so that we can transmit the correct information to people. The May 20th tornado is a great example. 2 miles wide, 17 miles long, thousands of homes, a hospital, numerous businesses, all destroyed. And yet not a single hotel in Oklahoma City or the Oklahoma City area was damaged. We didn't have a hotel that was down for more than about 6 hours because of a power loss. Making sure that the folks that we have coming in that week, which happened to be the Big 12 baseball tournament, immediately followed by the NCAA Women's College World Series, both outdoor activities with a lot of fan participation, and some other meetings right after that, being able to let the world literally know that our city is still functioning, that yes, there has been a tragedy in a specific area, but that hotels are operational, the airport is operational, people that are traveling here for business or will be coming here in the next few weeks for conventions or meetings, those things can still occur here. Or in the converse of that, that yes, here's what the damage was, and you should call the CVB to get updates on what is happening, or we're also going to be contacting planners particularly. But I think the CVB being recognized as a trusted source and being able to provide that calm voice of reason and real factual information to visitors, convention planners, meeting delegates, whoever might be coming, is crucial for us. And we take that very seriously and with a great deal of pride in the way that we are able to handle it. And I know many of our colleagues around the country do exactly the same. So it's a matter of, again, keeping communication lines opening and being sure that we're on the front lines of that to let folks know what's happening.
Thank you, Mike. And that is a nice lead-in for Caroline, because I know that technology is a great tool as people are in the process of handling risk management. So Caroline, from your vantage point.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I think sometimes the best way to kind of understand how technology plays a role in risk management is to tell a story. And if I can go back to the previous slide here, I hope that that this picture will never become a reality for any of the planners that are on the line, but this, in fact, is a real picture that made its way to Cvent from one of our clients. And this image is of the truck that was carrying all of the printed collateral for a conference that was starting the very next day. So with less than 24 hours before a 5-day conference, with 4,000 medical attendees and more than 100 speakers, our client had no other option but to use the mobile app that they were very relieved they had decided to go with this year to save the day. And what happened, just so you know, because people always look at this and go, what in the world was the story here? The truck was stolen by some thieves, and when the thieves realized that the truck was carrying nothing of interest to them, they got mad and burned it. So the unexpected can, in fact, happen. This is far-fetched, and it happened to someone that we knew. So how did the mobile app save the day? Terry, can you go to the next slide for me?
Sure.
The client was able to use push notifications so that they could update their attendees and let them know what happened, make them aware that everyone needed to download the mobile app and kind of spread the word that this was going to be the center of information for the rest of the event. They were able to replace the signage that they lost with interactive maps. They quickly worked with us to upload all of the conference and event collateral that was not already available within the app so that people had access to everything they needed. And they were even able to still recognize sponsors that they had planned to put up on signs and on all the printed material that they were going to be passing out. So it really did come in handy and it saved the day. But I think really in terms of technology playing a role in risk management, that to have the full platform that you need in a really good plan B, you really need to embrace some sort of web-based event management solution like Cvent so that you have access to a full platform of tools that will allow you to communicate with your attendees the way that you need to. And really there are a lot of benefits, but for the sake of time, I'm going to go through only a handful today. And I say the first is that if you're using a web-based event management platform, you will have access to event information from anywhere in the world. So this means, whether it's a small change and you need to let everybody know that your breakfast is starting at a different time the next morning, or whether it's a major change because of a natural disaster and you want to let everybody know that things are okay and communicate out news and updates, you will be able to get into that information and look at it from anywhere. You will also easily be able to update event agendas or websites. So another place that attendees are looking for information, you'll be able to add things in like important updates, look at this closely, things have changed, their new start times, whatever that information is. You can quickly update it kind of at the click of a button, which has its real advantages, as you can imagine, in a time of need. And then you will also be able to very efficiently get in touch with your attendees. So you can select different groups of attendees to let them know of something that impacts them specifically, or email all of your attendees at once to let them know of changes. And Terry, thank you. And then another benefit is, I know sometimes when planning a larger conference or event, one of the things that can be challenging is managing room block inventory, managing flight information, hotel information, particularly if you're working with a lot of different systems to do that. So one of the advantages of working with an event management platform that is integrated with a lot of those different systems is that you don't have to go around to multiple different parties to collect information. to find out what's going on. It's all located in a central place so that when you need the information, you have it. And then lastly, I think this one's particularly important in thinking back to Boston and some of the events earlier this year and you know, other kind of natural disasters, major things that happen, but also on maybe a more personal level, if you need to find a specific attendee to let them know of something in the case of an emergency, having an app like On Arrival or something like that where you can monitor when attendees have checked in. You can check them into specific sessions so that you always have a record of the last place that they were, is a particularly beneficial thing to have available to you. So that is one thing that I ultimately think, you know, there are a lot of benefits back to the mobile app piece where we started, but we are all, I think, glued to our technology every moment of every day, and it's because it's our communication companion. It tells us what we need to know in any circumstance, you know, regardless of where we are in the world. And I think that it's a key component to any event, and it does that same thing for events.
Thanks, Caroline. I mean, it's amazing, the ability to connect and to keep attendees and all of the pieces that you may need in a crisis connected. So I think between having the right technology and then using the resources available through your CVBs and destinations that you're traveling to really helps you put together the right plan B. We'd like to just quickly show you how you can connect to CVB, to CVBs through DMAI's empowerMINT.com. So simply visiting the site allows you to begin a search of destinations that you are interested in by either selecting a region or a specific city, and then connecting to that destination's profile, which will give you an overview, a venues map, services that they provide free of charge, and then specific contacts for that destination. So you're able to reach out to them via email, phone, a quick request, or a full RFP if that's where you're ready. And Caroline, would you like to explain how you can connect with CVBs through the CVent platform?
Absolutely. So it is about as simple as Terry was just describing with empowerMINT. You can go to CVent, perform a search, and on the left-hand side of our search results, you will notice that there's a filter for CVBs. If you apply that filter, you will be able to view all of the CVBs within that particular market that will be available to assist you with the booking of your meeting or event. And once you click into an individual profile, for example, if you were to look at Boston's profile in CVent, you will see a link that says Contact a Destination Expert. If you were to click on that link, that is going to populate actually the same information that is within empowerMINT that gives you the specific contacts at that bureau that will be available to assist you. And then CVent also has another feature that is available. It is our copy feature, and this is something that appears whenever you are sending an RFP through our system. Right before you send that RFP, we're going to prompt you and ask you the question, would you like to include one of our local destination experts? And then any of the bureaus who are available to work with you will pre-populate there so that you can add them to the RFP, and it's sort of our way of reminding you to utilize the experts that are available.
And Caroline, thank you for being such a good partner for destinations across the country. And I think our goal is to really tell you that the opportunity, no matter how you source your meeting, whether you source it through empowerMINT or whether you source it through CVent or whether you go direct, you have the opportunity to connect with experts and with technology that can really help you plan for the worst or even avoid things that are quite avoidable in any destination that you head to. I want to let you all know that you will receive your CMP credit and for 30 clock minutes and under Domain A, which is Strategic Planning Solutions. And I'd like to have the opportunity to field some questions. We are at the end of our official webinar. Sorry for going over a few minutes, but I would like to turn to Elaine and Shimo to say, are there any questions that we could have Beth, Mike, or Caroline field for the group?
Well, thank you. This is Shimo Terry, and I think there has been a lot of great comments in the question box that really spoke to the relevancy of this topic for everyone. And in fact, thank you, Gina, for your comments. She mentioned that she was holding a meeting in Washington, D.C. in October when the government shut down. And then there was a shooting at the Capitol, and she sure wished she knew about a CVB, which is Destination DC. And so another related question to that was, really what else can she really tap in to use a CVB for? And I'm wondering whether one of our panelists can speak to that.
Certainly. Again, our job is to try to attract and secure as much business as we can. So site visits, we love to bring prospective I'll be all right in a minute, prospective planners into our city to show them what we actually have and to let you see how the venues and the hotels that we have might meet your needs. We can also assist, and I'm sure that Beth can chime in on this one. We know that there's so many other things you need when you are in a city besides a hotel and a meeting space. So the services that you need, Beth's a services professional in Boston. Beth, talk about what you can do to help our planner friends.
Well, one thing that we really like to do is really to drive home the point that our services are complimentary. They're paid for by our members and other ways, so there's no fee whatsoever to call the Bureau and ask for our help because we're there to help you. And one of the things that we really do, and I think we do a nice job of it, is we'll do your site itinerary for you. So if you want to come in and see the hotels, you want to see some restaurants, you want to see some venues for your board, do you want to maybe meet some people that might be able to be speakers for you, whatever it is that's important to you. Maybe we've had some that have just wanted to come in and meet some of the people in City Hall because they might have really heavy transportation needs and they have questions about how they're going to get in and around the city. We can put you face-to-face with the right people there or at our airport, whatever it is to try to make it easy. Like I said earlier, if we don't know who to call, we're going to find out who to call for you. So, and I think that's pretty true with almost any destination. So just give us a buzz and let us help you put us to work. We like new challenges.
One of the things I would add to that is, to the planners, is don't be afraid to ask a question. I've been in this business for 30 years. I started out as a volunteer meeting planner with an organization, and I learned very quickly that there were no dumb questions because I simply did not know the answer to all the things going on. And Shimo, as you related, a planner in D.C. that didn't know who to call when there was an incident. The worst thing we can tell you is no. And let me explain really quickly, we're not in the no business. We're in the business of helping you solve your problems or your challenges. So no is not the normal answer you're going to get from a CVB.
Thank you for that. And I think that, there's another question that is related a little bit to the technology piece of it. And it's really about the fact that I think many planners are having to deal with several generations at their meetings. The younger generations who are very comfortable with mobile apps. But what about those older generations on mobile technology at conferences, and what suggestions are there that you might have, Carolyn, for getting folks maybe to adopt those types of technologies at the conferences?
Absolutely. That's certainly something that comes up whenever we're talking to people about creating a mobile app for their event for the first time. And one of the things that we've done that's been very successful is we've had an on-site help desk, and in all the conference material, it sounds simple, but it really is helpful so that people can walk over with their mobile phones, with whatever smartphone they happen to be using, because there are a variety out there today. We can get them into the mobile app store. We can help them download, help them get into the main components of the app and kind of navigate it. And typically, once someone has a 3-minute tutorial on what they're looking at, we have people, the same people who are like, what is this? I don't know how to do this. This isn't my thing. My kids do this. I don't do this. By the end of the conference, they're stopping back by to say, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Why have I been, so against adopting this?
Thank you. Excellent. So Terry, I think that some of the questions have already been answered in some of the answers that we've already received.
Thank you. Well, appreciate everyone who stayed on. We just lost very few people through the question and answer, so I do appreciate you remaining with us for this extended time. And again, remind you that you will receive a notice with the recording of our webinar so that you can pass it on to those that you think may be interested, and also have the ability to print your certificate for CMP credit. So thank you to Beth, to Mike, to Carolyn, to everyone at CVent and our staff at DMAI for supporting us today, and mostly to all of you who tuned in again this month. We will not have an empowering webinar in December as it's our dark month, but we look forward to joining you again in January for a full calendar year of great webinars, and we really thank you all who have been steady participants throughout this year. Thank you, and have a great day.